is Pia. Welcome to the show. Feel the flow and go. So that's what it's about. When you feel that inner sensation, that great feeling, you're feeling the flow, you're in the zone, and just things happen. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about meeting people who are in the flow, like yourself. Of course, you're in the flow. We're all in the flow. And it's just beautiful when we can notice that we're in the flow and feel it and just go with it. And so that's who we're going to be interviewing people. And our first guest is coming on. And I'm just going to play a little bit of this. Let's get her on here. So how do I get her on? All right.
They said you can't disappear and expect your problems not to turn up again. But I said, yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Wait, where'd she go? Uh-oh, we lost her. Here she is.
I always need someplace new. I'm guilty of it too.
Hey, I've got your song playing.
Yay!
So exciting. Yeah. So welcome to, here, I'll turn it down a little bit. Listen to that. Listen to that. This is an
That's a great microphone.
original by LeRand. That's our guest today. I'll turn it down a little bit, but it's a beautiful sound. Beautiful song. Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
I went online and looked up your stuff.
Looked at my stuff. Yeah. Some of it is out there. Not all of it, but most of it.
Yeah, it's nice. I like how you're doing it too.
Thank you.
I have my new microphone, but it's not the correct one. But anyway, I have it and I got it all taped up here. So we'll get better equipment as we go along.
Oh, it's a great sound. It's okay. I don't have my microphones with me, but hopefully.
Oh, you sound good though. It sounds good. Yeah, this is
top is okay.
Yeah. So welcome to Feel the Flow. So it's about, when you're in the zone and you feel that flow and you want to go, 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 and you do go. You have gone. Look where you've been. Look where you are. It's kind of amazing. And I'm so excited for you to tell us all how you got all these places.
Well,
all these things going on too, like the music. Which one are you most passionate about to talk about? Music?
I'm equally passionate about my main job with farming and music. I don't know which one to talk about first. They're both such passions. They're both equally passionate. So we can start equal passion. So we can start with whichever one you'd like.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we end on the music so that you could play us a song or something. Sure. We just heard one, but you could go live and I could dance.
Yes.
Because that's all part of it. So This is awesome. So I know that you're a singer, songwriter, and I learned that you're a photographer. That I did not know. That's awesome.
Yes, I used to work as a portrait photographer in high school. There weren't a lot of portrait photographers in Northwest Indiana, where I'm from at the time. So I just, I really took advantage of that, and I don't do it as much anymore, but I still really love taking photos.
Yeah. That's great. That's also like in the zone and you capture the aliveness.
Yeah. Speak of flow. Time would just pass so quickly when I would be with a client. I really like photography and just, taking pictures of them, interacting with them, joking. Suddenly it was, an hour had passed and I had no idea that,
you were in the flow. Yeah. No, for sure. I love that. And it's, let's see what else. You're in a farmer, guitar player. Guitar. Yes. You play more than the guitar, though. I looked online. You were playing some other instruments.
I do. Yeah.
I just have you tell us about yourself. I just know all these things about you, but not really know deep.
Yeah. Well, I feel, I can start with talking about music since we're on that topic already, but I started taking classical piano lessons when I was 7.
Oh,
And
wow.
the piano was my instrument for a long time. I auditioned for music school. I thought I was going to do the music conservatory thing with piano. And
Wow.
but I also congruently discovered guitar when I was, I think, 14. And that guitar really spoke to me. I loved playing it a lot more than piano. So I subsequently I took piano lessons, then I taught myself guitar and started writing songs later in my teenage years and performing, like not until much later, like maybe my early 20s. But yeah, so I play piano, I play guitar. I have a dulcimer that I play
I think I
sometimes.
saw that. Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, a few different
No,
things.
that is so exciting because you started young. That means you're pretty good.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I wish I would have. I wasn't forced to play piano, but it it was kind of expected of me because I come from a very musical family and they all play piano on my mom's side, and so it was highly encouraged. And
Nice.
I dabbled in the pipe organ for a while at a
Oh,
local church.
wow.
That was interesting. It was hard because you have like 3 keyboards, 3 for your hands, 1 for your feet. So it's a lot of like coordination, But yeah, I really I kind of wish I would have taken guitar lessons. It's good to have like a firm footing in that. And then maybe if you want to stop taking lessons later on, you can, but then, it's okay. I got proficient enough to write songs and to play with others. And that's what I
Yeah.
like about it. So
Yeah, that is amazing. I
yeah.
mean, you're self-taught. That's exciting to hear because I am also self-taught and still learning the guitar. Mostly I just sing.
How is
Yeah.
it going? Is it
Sometimes it's kind of interesting because it does just come from nowhere, and then I
Mhm.
just keep recording it, and the reason I record it is because I don't know how to play guitar, so
Yeah.
I can't find it. Sometimes I have to video it, like, where did that go?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I gotta find
Guitar
it
is
again.
hard. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
definitely learning though, it is fun. And one
yeah.
one time I woke up from I was just, like, getting in the zone with meditation, and then one
Mhm.
morning I did wake up and I was like, "Wait, I think I could play the piano." And I just walked out with do 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 do
Yeah.
do 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 do. And I was like, "What?" And then like I didn't stop to say, "Wait, where did it go? Well, how does it go?" It just came there and it just went and I just played it and it was amazing. And then all day long I kept singing that tune and
Yeah.
my kids and my husband at the time were like, "What the heck is going on? Are you going to shut up? Are you going to
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
singing that song? You're making us upset."
It's funny.
Then words came, so it was kind of
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's nice when there's a synergy between the music and the words and you find the perfect match and yeah, so
that's when you're really flowing. I mean, that to me is like it's coming from some place and you're getting like
yeah.
a download and you're like, you got to catch it. You got to catch it. So I would always have the phone ready to catch, or not my phone at the time. It was just a recorder. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. It's funny how ideas come. I find that I don't get many ideas when I just sit down and think I'm gonna write a song, but they
Right.
come very randomly.
I
So
always think it's like, oh, I feel a song coming on.
yes, yes. I very much
Do
identify with
you?
yeah,
Yes.
totally, totally. Yeah.
Because that song that I was playing is beautiful, and that came from a trip you said in Mexico?
Yeah, yeah. In New
New
Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah, I've always been very enchanted by the desert landscape. I
Nice.
toyed with moving to New Mexico before, moving, somewhere in the Southwest. And the current album I'm recording, there are a
Oh,
lot of songs about that reference the desert and my love for it. But that one specifically, you know, I wrote it while I was looking at a barren desert landscape. And so, I don't know if I even say the word desert in the song, Desert Song, but it's sort of a song about a collection of thoughts I had while I was spending time in the desert. So
oh my gosh, that is so amazing. I think that's just so amazing that you were there and you felt it and you feel it and you're still able to keep going with it, and you'll probably go back, I'm sure. Sounds like it's
Yeah.
alive over there.
Yeah, it really is. And the song is sort of like a it's like a photograph, it's a moment in time that I captured that, when I play it, I really feel like I'm there, just in the same way that if I look at a photograph of that trip that I took, I feel like I'm there. So it's a yeah, it's a special song to me.
Nice, nice. And you're doing an album.
I am, yeah. I am recording my second album with
Oh, wow.
Ben Sturdivant, who lives in Ukrainian Village, who I think
Yeah,
uh,
Ben.
from the pottery. And yeah, so I'm
This is your
all
second album.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
All the songs were written in 2019 and early 2020. So
Before the pandemic or
before the
right before?
pandemic, and I'm kind of like you know unless until I get these songs kind of recorded and out into the world, I feel this sort of mental blockage such that I don't feel like I can write other songs until these are out there.
Right,
So,
right, right, right,
there's
right.
there's some blockage, so I'm excited to get them out.
Oh, that's awesome. And then, um, like the other instruments just come about because you just felt like you should pick it up and just start.
Yeah, I mean like the other instruments I
The other
play.
instruments, right? You play.
Yeah. Like, well, it's interesting because on the album, I don't, I could probably write like a bass line, but I'm really not a bassist, and I'm also not a drummer. I do not play drums. So it's nice to be I'm working with someone who
Yeah.
plays all of the instruments. So it's very convenient.
Is that
Um
Ben?
that is Ben, yeah. Ben plays
Wow. Oh,
a
wow.
variety of instruments and records, so it's sort of an all-in-one package, which works well for me since I don't. But anyway, as far as the other instruments came about, I mean, yeah, I mean, guitar. I came to learn guitar just from when I was 14 from listening to the Beatles. So that's how that came about.
Oh.
That was
Oh.
a catalyst. Very cliche, but and then the
Oh.
dulcimer came from Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell is my favorite artist. She's the reason I play music.
Ah.
I take a lot of inspiration from her. So that's why I have a dulcimer, is because of Joni Mitchell. So
I think she inspires people to just find their own voice, sing their own way, and being allowed to be you. And
mhm.
you've done that. You have your own voice, and it's
Oh,
really beautiful.
thank
That's
you.
really nice.
Yeah,
Really
I
nice.
I agree.
Easy.
She writes very like confessional lyrics, very personal lyrics, and she's not afraid to do that. So I took a lot of inspiration from that, and I think it's very cathartic. It's very songwriting for me is like a very healing thing, very autobiographical, and I love listening to music that's just kind of this early 60s, late 50s bop, like, yeah, baby, and that's
Yeah, yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
dance, whatever, but the music I write is very like personal, and and I find that to be like a really healing thing. So
I think the energy of it too is beautiful. It just flows. I mean, I only listened to that one song,
yeah.
but
No,
you
thank
can feel it. It's just really, really sweet, a nice feel. So that's exciting because now
you.
it's out. That'll be one that's on the album, or is that on your first album?
Yeah, that's going to be on the second album.
Nice.
It's going to sound pretty similar to that recording that you were playing. I mean, I think I'm just going to have it be me and the guitar. And
Yeah.
kind of thinking of,
No, it really sounds right.
yeah, I agree.
Voice, however you're doing it, your voice is just coming out so well and just
Thank
perfect with
you.
the guitar. It just sounds right. You don't
Yeah.
need anything else. You could use that one.
Right. Yeah, I know. I thought about it too, but it's
Yeah.
the desert is a sparse place. It's kind of a barren place in some ways, and so I feel like it made sense to keep the song production fairly
Simple.
sparse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And then how did you get into your you're a manager at
Mhm.
Global Garden Refugee Training,
Yes.
and it's a farm. You're a farmer in the city. of Chicago.
Crazy. Yeah. Chicago has a wonderful urban agriculture scene. So yeah, Global Garden we're a nonprofit. We are a small staff of 2. So
Whoa.
it's me. And with a small nonprofit, you kind of end up doing everything. So we have an executive director who started the farm about 9 years ago. And she mostly focuses on like writing grants, communicating with, we do a little bit of everything, honestly, but my duty, I'd call myself at this point just like a manager. I handle the sales and the marketing of produce. I should probably say what we are. We're a nonprofit that helps refugees from farming backgrounds make money as farmers in America. And so we have 6 farmers trying to do that. I help them connect to restaurants, to farmers markets, to any sort of sales outlet. And then we also have like around 50 or so farmers who just have like 3 by 20 garden plots for fun. Like they're just growing for their families, and they just,
Really?
we give them the garden plots. So we have a goal of connecting people to garden plots to grow for fun, and also for spots for 6 farmers to make income from farming.
Gosh. Now, how did that happen? Like, where did the idea come from? It just seems so amazing. I'm like so amazed.
It's a great idea.
I think there should be more. I think there's like room for so many more. Like, wherever there's a vacant lot, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not?
Absolutely. There are. So the farm started out through a grant, through like a $300,000 or so grant, from it was, I forgot the name. The acronym was like RAP or something, a Refugee Agricultural Partnership Program. Basically, this is a grant that gives organizations or individuals money for 3 years to start a refugee farm. So actually, there are multiple farms with this model around the country. There's quite a sizable one in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And it's, the idea is just to help, refugees cultivate a sense of agency and connection to the land, by helping them, make money as farmers. So there are other like global gardens, not with the same name, but, with the same model around the country. And I got involved in 2017, actually through our mutual friend, Molly.
I was wondering,
who's, for anyone who doesn't know, her and her husband own Jarvis Square Pottery in Rogers Park, a music and multifunctional space venue, pottery shop. She was my professor at UIC, where I was going to school, and I was working for her as a research assistant on a project that was studying how community gardens and urban farms benefited the well-being of Chicago residents. And part of my job was to go to different farms and gardens across the city and interview gardeners and see, like, how is this helping you? How is this benefiting you? And so Global Garden was one of the research sites. So after I stopped working for Molly, I continued to volunteer at the farm. And then I just stayed on for a while. And eventually Linda, the other, person helping out, or, running it, said, "Hey, I'm looking for another person. And I want to, and she's in her 60s. She wants to retire. So she's looking for, someone who can potentially help run that in the future."
Wow. Well, that's cool. That is so amazing. I just find it amazing.
I'm really happy. Yeah. People are very disconnected from nature, and talk about flow. I mean, again, there is a point where pulling weeds gets annoying, but when I am out there and I'm, working in the dirt and harvesting all day, I love it.
No, there's definitely a feel for it. I remember I tried to do my first organic little garden, and I planted it. We built a box and planted, and had no idea what I was doing. And I read something like, leave it alone, just water it and let it go. So I was standing there one time and just like noticing things were popping up, and I was like when do I eat that? Like, because I
Ah,
watched the lettuce come and then go because I didn't know. It was like no buzzer went off and nobody said, time to pick it. So some of
yeah,
that didn't quite. And then
yeah,
I remember standing in the dirt and looking around and just saying, where's the cucumbers? Like in my mind. And then
yeah, yeah,
I had like a flash, and it's like I was told, "Look for the big leaf," and then
yeah,
and
yeah.
for the big leaf, and then you move the big leaf, and then there was the cucumbers. But it was like such an awakening to like there is this energy, there is this like knowledge that we're a part of, the dirt and the plants, and it's an intelligence that that
Yeah.
is alive, and we're in it. When you're in it, it's like so exhilarating. And I wanted to ask more questions, like, what should I be when I grow up? And it's like, can't answer.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, totally. It's there is, I like what you said about there's a certain intelligence to it,
Yes.
because there really is. And all these farmers have um I think that some people would unfortunately perceive like a Bhutanese refugee, like who that's one of the populations we serve. We're mostly like Bhutanese refugees, Burmese, and refugees from a variety of African countries. So
Wow.
I digress. But
That's amazing.
I think some people would perceive them as, unfortunately, less intelligent, but they
Oh
have
no, no
such an
way.
expansive knowledge of agriculture. And really, like, our name, Global Garden Refugee Training Farm, is slightly not misleading, but I'd say not the most accurate, because we are only training them to be able to cater to American markets. They already have an extensive catalog of knowledge and expertise. And I mean, they don't really see themselves as like separate from nature. They don't see this like dichotomy between
Right.
humans and nature. They're just so integrated with the land, as they put it. So
No, that's amazing. That would be fascinating to sit down with them and just I mean I know for a fact there's probably like healers within them, like knowing what goes with what. And I saw a little bit of a video that you guys have, and it kind of showed where the weeds, so-called weeds, we call them weeds, they
yeah,
were eaten, that they were planting them and eating them. And
that is one of my favorite things to talk about is
yeah,
we have a lot of weeds at the farm. And when you think about it, like on some level, weed is it's sort of a subjective term, because
yeah,
there's one called my favorite one to talk about is purslane, which
purslane.
in Spanish, if anyone listens to this who speaks Spanish, is verdolagas, and it is a green that's incredibly high in omega-3s, very nutritious. It grows wild, and you can find it in like the sidewalk cracks in Chicago, but the farmers cultivate it and sell it, and have eaten it
Really?
in their homelands. And then it's kind of funny, then we have chefs who buy it for like a very high price. So it's like
That's awesome.
but it's, and it has this great lemon flavor. Like there's a whole palette. There is a whole host of vegetables that we're ignoring, because we have this conception of like what is food and what is weeds and what is. So a
Maybe
lot
we
of our farmers grow medicinal
Yeah,
medicinal
that's what I'm
things
thinking.
that are also weeds. So yeah, it gets pretty interesting.
It would be cool to have you and them on here,
Yeah, yeah.
have more people. This is our first attempt.
Yeah,
I think it's going well.
yeah.
But that would be really interesting, and I'm sure they could give us more, like from where they came from and how involved they were and all of that. I mean, it's just kind of amazing that they got to come here and find their way.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
to me, that's like being in the flow. Like when you're in the zone, you don't, if you're out of the worry and out of the yada yada,
Mhm.
it brings you to like you met Molly, and
Yeah,
and then you met Paul. I mean, you met like people, you met Ben, and you're creating
yeah.
an album. It's like all these little, your
Yeah.
coincidences and just running into the right people at the right time.
I feel like I've been extraordinarily lucky. I mean, that my life for the past 3 years could be summed up as flow. And I'm very grateful. I mean, even this apartment, I just moved to Rogers Park from Indiana, and I've ended up in this fantastic building within my favorite location, my favorite street, my favorite corner, you know,
You got the
in
best
all of
spot.
Chicago, for a
You're like,
reasonable price with wonderful people surrounding me. So it's very odd. It's almost
no, don't question it. It's awesome. It's just your flow. You're in the zone.
falling into place. Yeah, right
Yeah,
at the right time. So
it's so thrilling. I
yeah,
mean, I'm
very
just so excited for you and just all that you're bringing to other people, touching other people and
thank you.
continuing it. It's like amazing that you get to be a part of that. I want to be a part of it.
Yes,
I want
yes.
to be a little farmer girl in the city.
Come volunteer. We have
I will. I
volunteer
will.
opportunities April through October. Email
I'm
me.
in. I'm in.
Okay.
I want to do that because I know, like, even with I had another experience with which I keep feeling guilty about. I juice, so I have a lot of stuff, and I don't compost. I don't have any place to put it, so I always feel guilty. I always put it in my refrigerator and say, today I'm going to compost this somewhere. I know and then it starts smelling. It's like I have to throw it out.
Yeah.
But you guys compost too?
So that's funny. This is a long story, but we legally, now I'm still getting familiar with the
Oh,
legal requirements because there are
oh,
unfortunately legal requirements for composting, whatever. But
oh,
as a
interesting.
farm, we can compost. Like the farmers can
Ah,
start a compost pile with, and I hope no one from the city of Chicago sees this interview because I could be getting the requirements wrong, but I believe that we're allowed to start our own compost pile with only elements from our farm. Like, I
yeah,
can't bring like
because
my eggshells there, for example, that I'm bringing from my apartment. So we have like a sort of haphazard compost
yeah,
pile going on with brown material and green material like rotten tomatoes, whatever. But we want to start like a community composting programs where other people, community members, can bring their own food scraps there.
yeah.
I think it just requires a permit, which don't get me started on how
No, no,
that is,
no.
but
Yeah,
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 so
yeah,
it's
well,
in the
don't right, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I like that. I experienced just standing next to somebody's, compost, like, huge energy was flowing, I swear to God, and then we were playing a bags game, and I shot, like, 3 3 or 4 in a row right in the hole. I was like, "Oh my god," and I felt like I was a genius, like, I had, like, more activity, like,
yeah.
it was I could feel it, and it was quite amazing, and I feel like that's the intelligence, like, we're connected to all that, and we're not even aware because 'cause we're so far from it, like, I have to go running and stick my feet in the sand and the water to, like, feel it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the
I mean,
dirt is amazing.
just with urbanization, we're living very different from how we traditionally have. And I don't mean that in like this pastoral romanticized way, but like, there are elements of living rurally that I have really liked and appreciated, such as a more rich natural environment.
Right.
But then there are element that feels more like right to me, or biologically sound, or more natural, whatever. But
Yes.
then there are elements of city living, such as a rich community life, that I also feel are really just
Oh,
evolutionarily
yeah,
biologically important,
yeah.
that I get from living in the city. So I like both, and it's nice to have places like the farm where I feel like both can be obtained, both needs
Yeah.
can be met.
I mean, I find it fascinating because I wanna live on a farm, but I also like the city, But
I
it
joined the
would
club.
be yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I do like being way out. I almost went on a farm, Molly's just but not yet, but I want
Yeah.
to.
Oh, it's beautiful. You
Yeah,
must go see it. It's
I
it's a
have to.
true retreat.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I feel like that's what it is when you're out there with
yeah.
just nature, you know?
Yeah, you're really you're faced with yourself. I mean, and your own thoughts, and the things you have on your mind, and it's very refreshing, I think.
Yes, and you've got it going on in the city.
I try.
You're in the city. And it's interesting that you call it a farm, so that is different than a garden. So you have different
Yes.
rules and different things that you can do, right?
I have thoughts about this. Yes. So it's funny, my supervisor, Linda, who started the farm, she gets very upset when people call it a garden and not a farm. And, it really, but yeah, it is. We're on 1 acre, and we made almost, I think, 60,000 this year between 6 farmers. So not bad for, and
Wow.
actually the market farmers are growing on less than that. They probably only, like, collectively between the 6 of them have like maybe like a half of that, like half an acre or
Really?
less. So not bad, like not bad
Wow.
profit for such a small amount of land. But yeah, we are a working farm. We do share the land with a community garden. We have 1 acre and they have like,
Oh,
I don't know, maybe like slightly under a fourth of an acre. I'm not good at visualizing this.
okay.
They're called Global Garden,
Global
and
garden.
we're called Global Garden Refugee Training Farm. So people get us confused. But anyway, they're a garden in the sense that it's through an organization called Peterson Garden Project. And anyone, you don't have to be a refugee, anyone can pay, I think it's like $80 for a year or something, and get
Okay.
a little raised bed, 4x4-ish, maybe bigger. Yeah, little block.
Do you have to be right there?
No, anyone can do it
Oh, okay.
anywhere. They have multiple locations around the city. So,
Nice.
so we're completely separate from, they are also a nonprofit, but we're a completely separate organization. But anyway, to answer your question, we are a farm.
Farmers.
Garden, but,
Oh, that's amazing. And my sister was saying that she had some refugee, like people asking like questions, like where would somebody, I'm asking too, like when people come in, how do they find these organizations and how do they find even housing? I'm always curious about the housing. I'm a real estate agent and I should know this, but I do not. Like, where are they and how do people help them? And,
yeah.
so
Refugees typically come here with the assistance of, a refugee agency. There are multiple, I think 6 different refugee or more refugee agencies in Chicago. And they're mostly centered on the north side. Refugees tend to,
it's here, right?
resettle in, there are a lot in Rogers Park.
Yes. Yeah.
There are in the north and the northwest sides have a lot of refugees. Heartland Alliance, Refugee One, World Relief, Catholic Charities. Those are like a few different ones. And, they help refugees start their lives here. And as far as the details of what that entails, I'm not even fully educated on that, but I do know that they get very little time to get their stuff together and
Oh my gosh.
and the money that they get to pay for housing, I believe eventually has to be paid back, and after a very short amount of time. So,
Wow.
our goal is to give them some sort of stability and normalcy amongst the chaos. We're not a social service agency such that we can help them find housing. That's what these other organizations are for, but we can at least help them find community, mental peace. And we do, as far as how people find us specifically, a few different avenues. The biggest one, honestly, is word of mouth. I have refugees just show up at the farm. I mean, that's happened probably, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 times this summer, where someone comes and maybe they speak a little bit of English, and it's like me, like at the point at the garden, I'm like, okay, and give me your ID, your card, and it's like, okay, like phone, yeah, okay, so it's hard. We're dealing with a lot of different languages, and there are barriers there. So word of mouth, and actually tomorrow during my work day, I'm going to be reaching out to these agencies and trying to recruit new farmers, because we have open garden plots.
Really?
So,
do you send out a notice or something, or?
Yeah, I'm going to send out a notice. I kind of have to find the right point of contact at these refugee agencies, because they're big and sometimes you have to go from person to person to find the right person to contact, to let the refugees know, hey, who wants a garden plot? So, yeah.
And do they get to do that then full time, so they don't have to worry about another job? And they have their own food. They get to take some of the food themselves.
That's a good question. Yeah. So the farmers who are just growing for fun, who have like I think our plots are 3 by 20-ish, 3 by 40. Those people are not like making money from their vegetables. They're just growing for their families. They're growing greens. Maybe they come once a week. Maybe they only come once a month, to their plot. But our 6 farmers who are making money, who I'm like, my job is to help them make money as farmers. They're probably bringing in like, I don't know. I think our highest earner brought in like 10 grand for the year.
Wow.
So it's a side job.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not a full-time job.
Yeah.
But it's a nice way to earn side cash. It would be good for all of our farmers are, over, in their late 20s and 30s and are established in life, but it would be a great opportunity for like a college student,
Sure.
a high schooler who's trying to earn extra money. So
Yeah.
so all the farmers mostly have like full-time jobs, or at least one of their spouses do. So
Okay. But I bet it does help, like from what they've been through, because refugees are like, they didn't just come over, hello.
right,
They
totally.
had a whole thing going on, like all
Yeah.
the stories I could imagine, like what they went through, and leaving your
Yeah.
country with nothing and walking, or
Mhm.
however people do it. I just don't even, it's like
Yeah.
mind-boggling.
I struggle to, I mean, because in working this job, I've become like quite close friends with a lot of them. And it just, they'll just bring up in casual conversation how, oh yeah, I don't have a pinky because I was, enduring persecution and someone cut it off. I mean, it's like, the stuff that they've been through that they can,
Wow.
talk to me about is just is crazy. And it just so, it's like, wow, what do I say to that? How do I be
Yeah.
there for this person? And um some of them struggle with mental health issues, some of them struggle with other, issues. And so it's but then they find a lot of grounding in being at the farm, the grounding community. But yeah, I mean, these people have just like really, really been through it. And it's I always try to find the best way to
Yeah, it's
be.
always amazing when people come in from another country, like as a realtor. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
imagine.
just charged up, they're juiced up, they see opportunity everywhere and they go for it. And being an American, it was like my one friend, I forgot, where is he from? Bulgaria. He was like, "You are a sleeping giant." Like, you don't even know what's here, and he just went after everything. He was a realtor, and he ended up opening up his own office and doing stuff like way faster than me.
Yeah,
He was just funny, like, you like, wake
yeah,
up.
yeah, totally. I mean,
And they're always ready to buy so fast. It's like, whoa, how long have you been here? 2 years. It's
yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, totally. I mean, all of our farmers, would like to, most of them at least would eventually like to, buy homes. We have one guy
Sure.
now who's um looking around, and I just look at, how far he's come from. He lived in the forests of Malaysia, like hunting wild boar, like for food. And now he's in America, making like, okay, pretty good
Yeah.
money, and is looking for a house. It's just, and
Oh,
he's the hardest worker I know. I mean, he'd like work his night shift at a casino, like as a janitor, and
oh,
then come to the farm after that,
oh my
and
gosh.
then go work a side job in like
Yeah.
construction. Yeah, it's just
It
they're
is
hard.
amazing because they're hungry. They're so hungry. People are hungry, like they want it. And
Yeah, they're very they're all very hard workers, very motivated, very but at the same time they're, I think, reasonably critical of the pace of American life. So it's like there's this duality where they're really motivated, they really want to, succeed and do a good job in America, but they're also like, you all work too hard. So it's
okay.
it's interesting. They have a lot of
Oh.
really interesting insights about,
I kind of think the training, like that word training, refugee training, it's for us.
yeah, I know, that's how I feel. I'm like, I joke that, they know so much more about farming than I do.
Right. But
I'm there
just the whole
lost.
Zen thing, like just like being in the dirt and just like like they're saying, like slow down.
Yeah,
Maybe
totally.
slow down, feel the flow and then go.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I do know that it is amazing how I feel like that is like coming from a different country.
Yeah.
I remember I went, where was I? I don't I forgot, Croatia. It's almost like they had to train you to sit down at a restaurant outside and stay there for more than an hour drinking coffee. And it was like, wait, don't we have to go? Do we have to get out? Like, what are we doing next? And they're like, stop. Like,
Oh, yeah.
we go nowhere. You're
Well,
here.
yeah, there's just there is what they have described, and I don't want to put words in my mouth, but they have described their life as much slower, and on some levels, not all of them have described it that way, but like there's this thing, that some of them call, we have some Nepali farmers, and our Nepalese translator, we had a meeting one day, and she came right on time, but then the Nepalese were like 45 minutes late, and she goes, "Oh, it's Nepali time." And I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Anytime I call a meeting for either the Burmese or the Bhutanese farmers, they're always half an hour later. And so then I started telling them, like, if a meeting was at 10, I would tell them it was actually at 9:30, and then they would come at 10. And it's just in their culture. It's like, it's not, there's no part of them that's like, trying to be rude. We perceive it as, oh, it's rude that they're late, but that's just, it's just kind of more lax like that. This is interesting. It does make coordinating things hard sometimes, but I've learned to work with it well.
Yes.
So
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
You get to be a part of it all, and I'm sure they appreciate you.
I'm very grateful.
Energy, and you sing to them too while they're,
What's that?
Have you sang to them?
Yeah. I mean, like there's, I did bring my guitar to the farm once, and that was fun. We have one guy who really wants me to teach him guitar. So sometimes I'll teach him chords, and he'll share Burmese music with me. And, I'll
You guys
sing.
record it? You should record it. I mean, that's such a thing. That's a cool thing.
I agree.
A unique situation. I mean, really.
Yeah.
That's
No,
so
I
cool.
agree.
Yeah.
Very happy with it.
Do you want to say anything else? Let's see, did we skip anything?
How
about if you played us a song?
Sure.
Do you feel a song coming on?
What? Sure. I always feel a song coming on. I do need to get I did not prepare my guitar though, so let me go get it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll play this one while you're there. Let's see. Put that music back on. Let me find it.
Oh, okay. I got my guitar.
And so got it.
I'm going to tune it real quick.
All right.
I'm putting it in a tuning called Open D. And this is a tuning that Joni Mitchell uses a lot.
Open D.
Open D.
Is that like a drop D? They always.
Yeah. So let me.
Connolly always calls it a drop D.
I'll adjust this so you can.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so the bottom string is tuned to the note D. If you're a musician, and that means for you. So yeah, if for any musical folks, it's D. Hold on. D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. So dad fad.
Oh wow! So there's no E. No E.
Correct.
Oh, interesting. I gotta remember that. Maybe I could take lessons from you too.
There we go. So, all right, this is a song that will be on my second album, and it's about people who don't listen. So. I once knew a man who listened so intently, everyone knocked on his door. If listening were an act of love, then his love overflows like a wave pouring onto the shore. But then there's the fool who likes to hear himself talk. Afraid he won't be heard, he talks over everyone on the block. He talks about nothing, interrupts everything. Talking to him, it's like feeling alone. When I pause mid-sentence, you know he jumps right in with eager resolutions. But the listener, he understands, pauses aren't invitations. conversations. He's the fool who likes to hear himself speak. I tell him my ideas and he finishes my sentences for me. And he talks about nothing, interrupts everything. Talking to him, it's like feeling alone. I shouldn't have to raise my voice to prove my point or to be heard by you. Volume doesn't make your words more valid, it doesn't make you seem more astute. But you're the fool who likes to hear yourself talk. Afraid you won't be heard, you talk over everyone on the block. And you talk about nothing, interrupt everything. Talking to you, it's like feeling alone. You talk about nothing, interrupt everything. Talking to you, it's like feeling alone.
Yoo-hoo! That is
Thank you.
awesome.